classic millennial, move, if you will, but quarter life crisis, whatever. I gave away everything I owned, moved to Thailand, and decided to address the issues, the trauma, figure out holistically like how to heal myself from the inside out. And just that for me started with living a simple life. So went to this juice and smoothie shop every day and was teaching English. And I called my sister and I was like, I'm opening up a juice shop. This is what I was meant to do. And then moved back to Virginia Beach and started Crunchy Carrot. And then it evolved into Crunchy. Megan Riggs, founder and CEO of Crunchy Hydration, which is a sparkling wellness water. That is the biggest question I get asked. What does crunchy mean? Is there anything actually crunchy in your water? So no, there's nothing crunchy in the water. It is a sparkling wellness water on a mission to improve mental and physical health through mindful hydration. And it is so much more than just a beverage. It's a community that we're building of living with intention and taking a moment as you're drinking water. I started Crunchy originally in 2017 as a cold pressed juice business, Crunchy Carrot, and then it evolved into the waters. Born and raised, I'll give you long story short, born and raised in Virginia Beach, went to UVA, moved out to Los Angeles, and was still, crunchy, if you will. Like I loved juices and, different, like my mom grew up going to the Heritage. She was kind of the OG Crunchy mom. But I would say prior to really diving into Crunchy and finding who I am, like I was trying, but I was just lost. Like I was a lost version of myself, but still like stereotypical, like would do yoga and drink juice, but it was just, a lost version of Megan. Living in LA, working for this global training company, from the outside looking in, it's, oh my gosh, you're doing amazing. You're, spearheading West Coast operations, making a bunch of money. And it was like, I was not doing okay, like struggled with severe anxiety and depression, sleeping all the time. I'd never felt this way in my life. Classic millennial, move, if you will, but quarter life crisis, whatever. I gave away everything I owned, moved to Thailand, and decided to address the issues, the trauma, figure out holistically like how to heal myself from the inside out. And just that for me started with living a simple life. So went to this juice and smoothie shop every day and was teaching English. And I called my sister and I was like, I'm opening up a juice shop. This is what I was meant to do. And then moved back to Virginia Beach and started Crunchy Carrot. And then it evolved into Crunchy. And so everything that's in, and we'll go into it more, but everything that's in Crunchy are, L-theanine has saved my life. It's a nootropic that helps with stress, anxiety, and brain function. So every blend is different super herbs and nootropics that have helped my mental and physical health. And just wanted to share that with everyone else. Yeah, so our mission is to improve mental and physical health through mindful hydration. And we're trying to simplify it with, we all need to drink water. So as we're drinking water, let's take a moment to just slow down, like challenging the status quo of what meditation means or self-care. Like it can be as easy as I'm holding this can, I'm closing my eyes, I'm taking a breath, and I am grateful that I have access to clean water. Like that is what we're trying to do at Crunchy.
My name is Heather Herring. I'm the CEO of Crunchy Hydration, or Chief Operating Officer, like the fancy title on the door, but small biz. So, we all do a little bit of everything. So I think for me personally, it's really about I always kind of jokingly call it self-care in a can. And I think from a demographic standpoint or an age standpoint, I'm in my 50s and we didn't grow up in this term of self-care and everybody doing all these things to themselves and taking a moment wasn't really part of the language, and I'm glad that it is now. I think that's amazing, and I think it's important. But I think having something like this, somebody like me can relate, right? I can relate to the fact that it's quick. It's not going to, I don't have to schedule an appointment or go somewhere. Like I can literally open this and have it genuinely have an impact, not only on my physical health, but my mental health. And that's a huge thing. And I feel like that's the mindful piece, is something that you can fit into your routine, because mindful is going to mean something different to everybody. It's going to have therapy, it's doing yoga, it's drinking a Crunchy, right? It depends on what it means for you. And I'm somebody that doesn't slow down and doesn't stop very often. So being able to fit it into my day is huge for me. And I think a lot of people feel that way. And they do less for themselves. They don't think they have time. So finding something that you can fit into your routine, I think, is really important. I'll tell you, that's some of the favorite things I think we get to see. I deal with a lot of the customer service aspect of things, right? So many emails that are coming in, or text or anything like that. My phone number is linked to a lot of things, so I get a lot of calls. But having people reach out to us to tell us what an impact it has in their everyday life, and how they've been able to stop drinking soda or transition off of anxiety medication, or just the difference it makes for them when they are having a stressful time in life, or whatever's going on, and how it's become such a piece of their daily rituals. It means so much to them that we're having that kind of impact. For me personally, getting involved with Crunchy, my daughter really struggled with mental health growing up. We had a lot of hard things to deal with when she was younger, and she was on some medication for a while, and she didn't want to do it anymore as she was getting older. She didn't like the way it made her felt and what she was dealing with. And so when we transitioned off of that, we initially transitioned to L-theanine as a supplement, which is what's in every can of Crunchy. And now she just drinks Crunchy. So for me personally, it's been a very rewarding knowing that it actually is impactful. Makes just such a difference in how you view the world. So when I get the chance to talk to somebody about what it can do for them or the impact that it makes, I know I'm speaking from experience and from the heart that it matters, and can be truly impactful. She's in a great place now, and but it's a lot of work to get there. And I have so much respect for what that takes, and living in that for as long as we did, to know that there's something true about this. The 200 milligrams in every can it's an effective dosage. It's based on clinical trials. There's a reason behind it. But knowing that it really impacted my own life, with her and the everyday. So
for me, the biggest thing is when a customer reaches out and tells me that it has either saved their life or made their mood better or helped their sleep. Like someone's sleep score went from a 60 to a 96. That is fills my cup so much.
My name is Josh Canada. I'm the founder and CEO of Nidra Packaging. Nidra Packaging is a full-service co-packing company. We manufacture beverages for about 50 different clients, from Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre's gin and juice to iced tea clients. So I met Megan when she had Crunchy as the cold pressed juice business. And I met her because we wanted to start selling some cold pressed juice at Farmhouse, and I saw her on Instagram, and then we started selling that. And then Megan came to me and wanted to start a functional beverage company. So we basically were her resource to produce it. So she did the formulation and worked on all that stuff, and we were the resource to mix it, blend it, put it into a can, and be there for her to scale when she needed it, to scale the beverage, right? So she called, say, hey, I need 100,000 cans. Sounds good. We'll get all the cans, we'll get all your ingredients, we'll do all that stuff, and then mix it, blend it, put it into a can, and she's ready to go, ready to start selling. So she can focus on selling her product and marketing it, and not focused on the production of the product.
Like being in any kind of startup or entrepreneur business, right? You're in a constant battle with yourself to, keep going and figure out how to get there, because nothing's going to come as quickly as you want it to. And it's always going to be an uphill battle. And we've really taken a very lean approach to how we do things, right? Most beverage brands are raising just millions and millions and millions of dollars to kind of fund what they're doing. And I think, again, I said Megan's a unicorn. And I think that together we created a force that kind of allows us to maybe sometimes be in some spaces that sometimes take a lot of millions of dollars that we don't have. And we've still been able to kind of make some of those things work. And so I think there's so much true passion behind it and so much realness. And it's truly it's not just this kind of BS of a beverage, right? Where people are like, yeah, there's things in there that are going to help you. And there's 5 milligrams of something, or there's whatever it is, or they say there's no sugar, but it's full of all these other things. I feel like we are just being so genuine and so true to what this brand is supposed to be. And it was never about the brand itself so much as it was the community, right? It's how do we be a part of not just the small community, which we love, but how do we expand that community and grow so that we can help the most people? And I feel like that's it's more than just a beverage. And so I think those are the pieces that make us remember that. So there's been a lot of little moments along the way, I think, that you go, okay, we got this. Oh, okay, we got this, and it's sometimes it's small wins, like just getting somebody to say yes that you didn't think you could, or, and then obviously there's bigger ones, right? Expanding in more Kroger's, expanding in more Whole Foods, landing Food Line. Like there's big pieces that happen that make you feel like something's paying off because we work a lot. And, I'm a workaholic by nature. So that combined with a startup is a recipe for a lot of work, but I love it.
I mean, there have been so many challenges. Any entrepreneur would tell you that you just have to I kind of changed my perspective and giggle about it. I'm like, what am I going to learn today? Asking for help and bringing other people into the fold shifted the trajectory of the business. And then even last year, it was super tough. The regulations around CBD changed, and we lost probably half of our revenue, half of our accounts. And I was like, oh my goodness. And our old logo wasn't in compliance. It was a whole thing. I'm like, are we going to make this? And woof, and reporting back to investors with not good numbers. Anyways, it's doing better now. And it finally feels like the momentum is paying off. But if I would have given up back then, I wouldn't have been where I am today, feeling very excited about the brand. But that's the evolution of owning a business, or highs and lows. And it's all about your resilience and how you shift your perspective. And, people love to see that you either fail or almost failed, because you're going to be a better person because of that. The struggle. Whole Foods reached out to us. That was incredible. I guess so many people, it's probably my mom, but so many people had gone into Whole Foods requesting it that they were like, we've got to figure out what this product is. And same thing with Kroger. We saw them at the Virginia Food and Beverage Show. And they were like, we have to figure out what this crunchy beverage is. And, they wanted to carry it and launch us in a local set. So I would say that's kind of an anomaly. Having the stores actually reach out to you, and tons of independent stores reached out as well. But then you can get into the store, then you have to keep your space. And at that time, we had not onboarded with a distributor for Kroger or Whole Foods. So it was Megan, Kim, Heather, SkillBridge interns delivering to these stores. We were like, we are going to keep the shelf space. We are going to become friends with everyone in receiving. We're going to manage these spreadsheets. So that was an interesting time. We're still in them, expanding.
I feel like every day is an iteration, right? We're always, working on things, trying to get better and grow. We do have a new flavor in the works, which is very exciting, which we hope to be debuting this summer. So we're very excited about that. I think everybody's ready for that, and kind of ready to see something new from us. So we're thrilled to be able to bring that out, and maybe a little more iterations on the cans. This is the latest rebrand, but some more playful things coming in that as well. And then some more expansions. So we'll be launching in Food Lion this summer. So 276 Virginia Food Lions, which is very exciting. They're doing a hyper local program. So we're just thrilled to be a part of that and, reach another customer dynamic, which is great. Some expansion with Kroger. So we have a really exciting promotion going on for the next couple of months. So go to Kroger, 2 for $4. It's a great time. So that's about 50 stores across Virginia. So that was another big win, and really just being able to kind of continue to partner with them. They've been a good support system for us, and we're also going to be going into some of their local sets as well. So that'll be some additional space in those stores. And then, we just so many things coming down the pike, which is exciting. So we're thrilled to just continue to see more growth and continue to reach for that. It's going to be a good year.
Finally, for the first time in the long journey, it feels like the traction and the hard work, the traction is there and the hard work is paying off. It feels like every single week there's a new exciting update, from bringing on new retailers to different market research we've done that have, just so many things. Whole Foods is increasing every month. Kroger, online, our D2C is blowing up, direct to consumer. So I'm excited in sending more than just a quarterly update to investors. I'm like, hey, did you hear about this? And had this incredible meeting. Feels like made a comeback this year. And the rebrand has definitely helped, changing the cans and simplifying kind of some of the wording and how we're presenting ourselves to the consumers, just making it a little bit easier to understand. and just how it stands out on the shelf, I would say that's helped a lot too.
Thing that stands out for Crunchy for me is, number one, it's got a great founder that kind of lives the Crunchy lifestyle. And number two, I think the name and the messaging is right on point to capture that growing segment, right? So we know that the segment's growing, and the question is what will resonate with those customers. And I really do, I think, with the way that Megan's positioned it, the way that the rebrand of Crunchy looks amazing. I think that it's set to do well. And there's not many options I've seen in the space that are 0 calories, 0 sugar, and no artificial anything. And so as that space evolves, I think that Crunchy is very well positioned to capture a lot of that market share, because it truly is, from the ones that I've run here, from the ones that I've seen, really is a better for you option, right? And it just doesn't have, the sugar and the artificial sweeteners and things that a lot of the claim to be better for you things do. So that's why I think it will stand out, and it will do well.
So I think I feel like I've always been in a leadership role in pretty much every type of job I've ever had. That says about me, but like to be in charge, a little bit of a control freak. But I feel like whatever the situation is, leading by example is what makes the difference. So making sure that we take the time to remind each other of why this started and why it happened. I mean, obviously Megan's the founder and she started it on her own, but she started it for a reason, and that reason has extrapolated down to the rest of us. And so taking the time when we are kind of in a dark place, or we don't have any money, or we're trying to figure out how to, make the next thing happen or make a decision. Everything costs money, right? So you want to employ more people out in the field, or you want to do a demo, or you just make an impact somewhere. It takes money. So there's a constant, battle with raising money versus bringing money in versus making sure we're getting enough money from sales and distributors, those pieces of the puzzle. So much that people don't see is the year that it's taken, and the conversations that I've had, and the amount of meetings, and the amount of follow-up, and the amount of herding cats, as I lightly term things, to get one thing to happen. So there's definitely days where you feel like you want to crawl under the covers and be like, nope, I'm done, I can't do this today. But I think again, what we're about is what makes you keep going, because we do truly believe that we have something that is a disruptor in this category, that is a piece of the puzzle that makes a difference in people's lives. And that is so much easier to hold on to in those days when you're like ready to throw the towel in. It's knowing that there are people that really need what you're doing, and that we feel like this in particular is the thing to get us there.
I think there are moments in the journey of the business where it is inevitably going to be 24/7, 7 days a week. Maybe not for everyone, but I think it is important to have that period in time when you are grinding nonstop. But at some point, you have to make time for other things, or you will completely have burnout. Like I was reaching that point of burnout, and you have to find some balance and, take time off. Like Richard Branson, I think, all of them do 4-day work weeks, and they actually found that people are more productive when you're building in fun and more time off.
Yeah, I think so. It was just Megan and I for a while. And it's a lot, it's you're wearing every hat there could possibly wear. Like my hat on a regular basis is sales, operations, logistics, HR, people, whatever that is. And that's just on a daily, right? So there's always days when it's a little like, whew, okay, which hat do we need to put on right now? And I thrive in that a little bit. I do love a little of organized chaos, and I like, getting to do different things all the time. But I think we had a little lull there of like questioning, like, could we get there when things weren't happening as quickly as we wanted them to? And it was kind of the just like bear down and make a decision. Like we've already put this much in. Why turn back now? Like, let's just go for it. Let's go all in and just make it happen. Bringing in some other people, bringing Jason on, who does our, like brand development and all of the socials and, just marketing aspects, like to have that in our corner, I think has made such a big difference for us in knowing that there's somebody to take that role that neither of us should have been doing, right? That's not an expertise for either of us. So really having somebody in that corner, I think, has taken pressure off in certain aspects, but also opened us up and given us more time for others. So I feel like as the team continues to grow and gel, it just, propels us forward in a way that makes us poised. I feel like we're on the precipice of a lot of things. And that's a good feeling when you've been working really hard. So
being a 5-time founder now from Hampton Roads, what I'll say is take the jump, right? It's not easy. There will be a lot of hurdles to overcome, but if you have the passion, you have the drive, and you have the idea, it can become a reality. When I started, Nidra, this is my 5th startup, I was fresh off a divorce and, just unsure. And I just decided, hey, I'm going for it, and took the jump. Every week's been a challenge. There's been a challenge every single week for the last 3.5 years, but we're still kicking, and we've, gotten over the hump. I will say that Hampton Roads is a great place from a manufacturing perspective to be, because it's mid-Atlantic and all that. I didn't really utilize any resources other than a local bank to get an SBA loan, and I just kind of went out there and made it happen. But I will say, I've watched a lot of people who have had ideas for many, many years, and I'm 44 now, and I've talked to a lot of my friends who are now in careers and all that, and wish they had at least tried it when they were younger, and they regretted they didn't. Everybody fails, and I've done well at some and not well at others. And I've made a lot of mistakes, but I've learned from the mistakes, and I've been able to be fairly successful with everything I've done so far. But it just started with an idea, a dream, and just, going for it. We just did a run for AU Vodka, who was a huge vodka company based in the UK, wanted to come to the US, used us, and we're running stuff for Snoop Dogg and Gin and Juice. I would have never dreamed that I would be doing that 3 years ago, but I took the leap and rolled the dice, put my net worth on the line, and here we are.
So I would say to anyone taking this journey, and specifically, from an entrepreneurship and female founded companies, is stay true to yourself. Don't be afraid of that. Don't be afraid to know that you started this brand for a reason. You went after it for a reason, and you have more inside of you than you can possibly imagine. So take advice, listen to people, but remember that what you have inside is what matters, and you're always going to be your own best sounding board. Know what that company is about. Make sure that you have your ethos in place, know what your mission is, know what your vision is, and bounce everything against that every time. And find people to surround yourself with that are going to share that vision and are going to be stronger than you and smarter than you on the days you need them to be. And on days that you can't take it another day, they're going to be there to remind you why you're there. There's always going to be those people, but you have to remain true to yourself and strong in that belief, and know that you're going to be doing a lot of hard work. But be okay with that, because doing hard work for something that you love and for something that is yours is incredibly gratifying. So just stay the course.
Local female Hampton Roads founders, I would say a couple things to you. One, if you have an idea, just do it. Put it out there, tell people that you're doing it, ask for help, get involved. The community in this area is unreal. I had no idea prior to starting a business, the resources, going through 757 Startup Studios, 757 Accelerate, 757 Angels, and all the connections that came from that. And, you know, here we are today speaking to you guys. Like, so just do it, put it out there, ask for help, and don't give up. Like, if you are doing something because you believe in it, then it is going to work out, and just keep doing it. You're doing amazing.